The First Thing I Saw. Episode 1. Part 1. The first time I saw my brother dead, he was sitting in the chair like he had just fallen asleep. His head leaned forward, his arms hanging down. But his eyes were open. Wide open. That is the picture that never leaves my head. His name was Daniel. He was only 22. I should start from the beginning, but the truth is, the beginning does not matter much anymore. What matters is that one moment. The way his body looked in the dark room. The way the smell of smoke and sweat mixed with silence. I remember standing at the door, frozen. I wanted to call his name, but I knew. Somehow, I already knew. I had gone to his small apartment because he stopped answering his phone. My mother had called me in tears, begging me to check on him. I told her it was fine. That maybe he was asleep. That maybe he had gone out. But deep inside, I had a bad feeling. When I opened the door, the air hit me. Heavy. Wrong. I saw his shoes on the floor. I saw the empty bottles on the table. Then I saw him. I wanted to scream, but my voice was trapped. I wanted to run, but my legs were locked. The only thing I could do was walk closer, slowly, like I was not really in my body. When I touched his hand, it was cold. That was the night my life broke in half. Part 2, Calling for Help. I did not know what to do. I had never seen a dead body before. My hands were shaking so hard that my phone almost fell. I dialed my mother first. When she picked up, I could not even say the words. I just whispered, "Mom, he's gone." She screamed. A sharp, broken scream. Then the line went silent. I could hear her breathing fast, like she was trying not to faint. I wanted to comfort her, but I could not even comfort myself. I hung up. Then I called the ambulance. My voice cracked as I told them the address. They told me not to touch the body. They told me to stay calm. But how do you stay calm when your own brother is sitting dead in front of you? While I waited, I just stared at him. I kept thinking maybe he would blink. Maybe he would move his hand. Maybe it was a mistake. But no. His skin was pale. His lips had turned dark. The minutes felt like hours. When the paramedics came, I stepped back. They checked his pulse. One of them shook his head. The other wrote something down. One of them looked at me with sad eyes and said, "I'm sorry. He's gone." I nodded, but I already knew. They asked me questions. Did he have health problems? Was he using drugs? Did he leave a note? I did not know what to say. I just kept saying, he was fine. He was fine. But he wasn't fine. Part 3, the beginning of the end. Daniel had been struggling for a long time, but we never thought it would come to this. He had lost his job 6 months earlier. He said it was nothing. He said he would find another. But he didn't. Every time I visited, he seemed more tired. More quiet. He stopped answering messages in the family group chat. He stopped visiting our parents. One time, I asked him if he was okay. He smiled in that way that wasn't real and said, "Yeah, I'm good." But his eyes looked empty. He drank more. He ate less. He stayed up all night. Still, I believed he would bounce back. He was my big brother. He had always been the strong one. The one who looked after me when we were kids. But that night showed me how wrong I was. Part 4, Memories of Before. When I was small, Daniel was like a shield for me. I remember walking home from school once, and some older kids tried to take my bag. Daniel, who was just a boy himself, stood in front of me with his fists clenched. He was shaking, but he didn't move. He told them to leave me alone. They laughed, but they walked away. That was Daniel. Brave, even when he was scared. He was the kind of brother who would save the last piece of bread for me. The kind who would sneak me into his room at night to tell me stories when I was afraid of the dark. We grew up in a small house. Our parents did their best, but there was never much money. Daniel was always the one saying, it's fine. I don't need new shoes. Buy them for her instead. He carried me on his back when my legs hurt. He taught me how to ride a bicycle. He was the first one to clap when I sang in church. I keep thinking of those memories now. The laughter, the games, the secrets we shared. I try to hold on to them, but the image of him in that chair keeps pushing them away. It feels unfair. How can a life that was once full of so much light end in such silence? Part 5, The Questions That Never End. The days after his death were a blur. The police came. They asked questions too. They looked around his apartment. They touched the bottles, the table, the bed. They wrote notes. One officer asked me, did he leave a letter? I shook my head. My throat was dry. They told us it looked like an overdose. Not pills. Alcohol. Too much of it, for too long. His body had given up. I hated those words. Given up. Like he chose to die. Like he stopped trying. But maybe he did. Maybe he was tired of trying. My mother cried until her voice was gone. My father sat in silence, staring at the wall. I had never seen him look so small. We buried Daniel on a Thursday. The sky was gray. The air was heavy. I stood by the grave and watched as they lowered the coffin into the dirt. The sound of the soil hitting the wood still echoes in my ears. I wanted to scream, wait. He's still my brother. Don't cover him with dirt. But I stayed silent. My chest hurt too much. Part 6, After the Funeral. Life after the funeral felt strange. People came to visit. They brought food, they brought prayers, they brought kind words. But when they left, the house was quiet. Everyone kept saying, he's in a better place now. But I did not feel better. I felt lost. At night, I could not sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw him in the chair. I heard my mother's scream in my head. I kept asking myself, could I have saved him? What if I had called him more? What if I had gone to see him the week before? What if I had told him I loved him one more time? The questions never stopped. They spun around in my head like a storm. I began to hate my phone, because every message felt like a reminder of him. I began to hate silence, because silence reminded me of that night. But the hardest part was walking past his empty room at home. My parents left it untouched, as if he might come back. His shoes were still lined by the wall. His books were still stacked on the shelf. I sometimes sat in that room, holding his old sweater, breathing in the faint smell of him. It made me cry, but it was the only way I felt close to him again. Part 7, The Truth Nobody Said Out Loud. There was something we all knew but did not want to say. Daniel had been drowning long before he died. It wasn't just the job he lost. It wasn't just the drinking. It was the weight he carried for years. He never told us everything. But I could see it. The sadness in his eyes. The way he sighed when he thought no one was listening. The way he shut his door and stayed alone. Depression. That's what the doctor called it later. But in our family, we never used that word. We just said, he's tired. He'll be okay. We were wrong. Maybe if we had said the word. Maybe if we had faced it head on. Maybe if we had helped him more. But we didn't. And now, it's too late. Part 8, Living with the Silence. Months have passed now, but it still feels like yesterday. I wake up and expect a message from him. I pass places we used to go together, and the memory stabs me like a knife. I see his old friends sometimes. They look at me with pity, and I hate it. I don't want pity. I just want him back. I hear his laugh in my dreams. I hear his voice calling my name. But when I wake up, the silence is louder than anything. I try to be strong for my parents, but inside I am breaking too. They say time heals. But I don't think it does. I think time only teaches you how to carry the pain. And I am carrying Daniel with me, every day. His face. His voice. His death. This is my story now. The story of the brother who saved me when we were young, but who I could not save when it mattered most. Like and subscribe for part 9, The Last Memory. See you in the next video.